welcome back to eFAB Expo. My name's Kevin Kilgallen. I picked up some really cool swag at the last booth. Look at that. And you know, now that it's deer hunting season, reach out to your salesman if you want a cool camo hat. We've got some neat swag. You might have seen this before, but manufacturing makes America strong. So we have some neat things to either reach out on social media or through your salesman. So anyhow, this has been an exhausting day. Hopefully we're getting closer to the end. And you're learning lots of things, going to make your factories more productive than ever with some of the ideas you'll be able to implement. Our next presenters are from ARKU. The U.S. operation of ARKU is based in Cincinnati, Ohio. And they specialize in both top and bottom deburring and finishing and leveling. So at this point, we're going to hand it over to Dennis. And thank you for your patience. All right.
Welcome, everybody, to the live virtual seminar hosted by our great friends from Mid-Atlantic, Southern States, and Northeast Machinery Sales. Very glad to have you all here today. What we'll be covering today in the 30-minute slot will be first we'll be talking about our precision levelers, and then we'll also go into an overview of our comprehensive lineup of deburring machines. First of all, myself, my name is Dennis Weinfertner. I'm in charge of marketing activities for ARKU in the North American market, and I'm going to hand it over to my colleague.
Hello, my name is Chad Ellis. I'm the leveling expert at ARKU here in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm going to demonstrate leveling a piece of stainless steel laser cut part for you. First off, I'm going to measure the thickness. This is the Flatmaster 55. This machine here can go up to approximately around a ½ inch. We build machines that can go all the way up to 2.5 plus. So we got a 4mm part here. Going to come over. So my machine, it's really easy to use, just 2 settings, and I'll go into a little more detail after we run apart. But I set my exit at 4mm. I set my entry below material thickness, 1mm below material thickness. Hit play, the machine's gonna move into position and automatically turn on. So you can see here, just to give you one more reference here. Yeah. Good. Single pass. Dennis will go ahead and pick that for me on the other side. The machine can run at various speeds up to 12 meters per minute if needed. Okay, if you want to come on in a little bit, zoom in. You can see here, in a single pass, I can achieve a really nice flatness requirement. If needed, I could turn the part by 90 degrees, hit it again for extremely critical flatness tolerances. But let me go ahead and show you the interface of the machine real quick. So how did I get these settings? What I can do here is go to my calculator. I can select a steel type, such as stainless steel. I can enter my thickness of 4mm. My yield strength is set at 400. It will generate a setting for me. As you can see, it's 3.04 on the entry, 3.98. My setting was 3 and 4. I could just take that to the machine, and there's your recommended setting for your starting point, and then you can tweak from there and dial it in as needed. Right here, I'm at the home screen, very easy to use, and all our screens across our product map from deburring and leveling all use the similar interface, everything based off material thickness. So we have our home screen, our tool library. We can store thousands of different part numbers in here and recall those up for jobs that repeat themselves. Real nice feature is the error screen. This will let me know if any errors come up, if anything's wrong with the machine, if I hit a e-stop, collision guard, bumper guard, even all the way down to a hydraulic filter that needs changed. So very easy for the operators to understand the machine. What's also nice about this menu, it has the manual already downloaded into the machine. So if an operator has a question, he doesn't have to hunt down a maintenance manager or someone if the manual's locked up. So it's a good reference guide. Like I said, this machine here can go up to a ½ inch. It comes in different widths. like all our standard leveling machines do. And we can go from approximately 5 thousandths up to well over 2.5 inches, depending on the applications. And Dennis, I'll hand it back over to Dennis.
Yep. So now that you kind of got an overview of our levelers, obviously we have only so much time in this session. This kind of shows you and encompasses really what type of levelers we make. What my colleague Chad has already touched upon is these levelers itself. We go all the way up to around roughly 2.5 inches of solid material. We have all kinds of different widths available. These machines also, like I said, very popular with job shops, punching. I mean, especially with punching, you always tend to get a kind of warped material out of the actual punch press. And then the last thing what I wanted to say is too, we don't only offer aesthetically flat parts with these levelers, but what we actually do due to the alternating bends that the material goes through, we actually remove the internal stress out of the material as well. So as a lot of you guys know, as fabricating experts, for example, let's say you go in a job shop where there's a lot of welding going on. You need a lot of jigs and a lot of clamps. With that being said, is by running the material through this machine, either just being the straight up sheet or single cut parts, you're actually not only providing complete aesthetic flatness, but you're also taking that stress out. And then now when you're re-adding heat to that part during, for example, welding, that internal stress does not become external in the sense of bowing and messes up your weld quality, which allows you to reduce your number of clamps and basically just drives your efficiency and your costs way down. So the next part I'm going to jump into is an overview of our deburring lineup. And for that, real quick, I'm just going to jump behind my computer and start a PowerPoint for you guys. Alrighty, so as I just talked about, first we talked about our lineup of precision levelers. Now we're going to dive into the lineup of our precision, deburring machines. Basically, what we have here is, why deburring? A lot of the times, it's a key manufacturing process that a lot of people over time have realized is really, really cost benefiting to automate. And to kind of just go over real quickly, I made a rough guide to really show you what the main reasons are. A lot of these manufacturers choose to deburr and or edge round. For example, functional, ergonomics, aesthetics. I don't want to go over the whole thing. I'm going to pause it for a little bit so you can read it over. But there's different reasons for different manufacturers. So with that being said, it really depends on the customer requirements, and especially when it comes to the final product requirements. So just diving right into it a little further, factors for creating a burr. A burr itself, as we all know, can be created by various cutting processes. Some of the most common ones used in the industry today, we have plasma, Oxy-Fuel, laser, fiber laser, and punching, just to name a few. But not only is the cutting method very crucial, but it also comes down to other factors such as the cutting speed, the material, the initial material quality, the workpiece geometry, amperage, specifically to plasma, gas supply, and heat of the respective cutting media. So all of these factor in to how clean your cut will be, what kind of sharp edges you're experiencing, what kind of burrs, what kind of slag, obviously slag more with plasma and oxy, but those are kind of the varied factors that make up what kind of defects you will have after cutting. So kind of just going right into it, like I said, this is an overview presentation of the comprehensive lineup that ARKU has to offer for deburring machines. The processes we do offer include deburring, edge rounding, deslagging, oxide removal, and surface finishing. So jumping right into it, and you can see this on the ARKU website, www.arku.com, we have it really easy for our customers that we split up the deburring needs in terms of what cutting media is being used in-house. That's how we kind of guide to show you what is the right machine for your application. So first, real quick overview for our machines for punched and laser cut materials. So here you can see very easy. On the left-hand side, we have the various machine types we have to offer. Then you see if they're either single-sided or double-sided processing. Next, obviously, like I said, this is the punch and laser parts category. Some advantages that some of these machines offer, just some of the main advantages to really that set them apart in the market. And then lastly, we have different categories, making it really easy, that show the different processing steps that each machine can perform. Last, obviously, we have the master's passageway width. Basically means what's the max width of the part we can feed into the machine. And then also the minimum part dimension of how small certain parts can be for the machine applications. Keep in mind, there's an annotation with a 1. We do make special applications with trays and part pallets, as we call them, that some of these machines can actually process even smaller than it's being listed here. Jumping right into, like I said before, we divide it into laser and punched. And then the next one would be plasma and Oxy-Fuel cut materials. Going right into this one as well, like I said, same comprehensive overview. Machines on the left, what side they process from, some of the advantages and the various processing steps that they encompass for the machines. Same also again, master's passageway width, and then also minimum part dimensions. One thing I'd just like to mention here, like I said before, it always comes down to, like Chad, my colleague, had mentioned, machine obviously goes off the material thickness, but it is also important when you're splitting these machines up into different processing categories. What really matters the most is what is essentially the cutting media that you're using in-house. With that being said, there's different applications. Obviously, like I mentioned before, with plasma and oxy, you're running more into slag, more heavy-duty burrs, as we would say. But on the other hand, with laser and punched, more lighter burrs, sharp edges, so on and so forth. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it back on to the camera, and we're going to take some question and answers. With that being said, I'm going to call Kara in real quick over the phone so we can discuss any potential questions or anything of that nature you guys might have in terms of what you'd like to ask our experts here. Give me 1 second. All righty, so now we got Chris on the line here. I'm going to jump back in front of the machine, and we're back.
All right, so the first question is, will you do contract leveling if a customer does not have enough work to justify the purchase of a machine right away?
Let Chad take that over.
Once again, this is Chad. Yes, here in Cincinnati, we have a full toll processing center. We have the capability of going from 5/1000ths of an inch all the way up to 1.5 inches here at this facility. You're more than welcome for facility tours, to watch your parts be processed in-house, to demo our machines. But yes, the answer is yes. We have a full contract leveling and deburring center in Cincinnati. If you'd like any more information, you could reach out to me at chad.ellis@arku.com.
Great to know. The next question is, can you combine your leveling unit with your deburring machine in one line?
I can answer this one. So great question. The one thing, like we always say, is everything is moving towards Industry 4.0, as a lot of people address it nowadays. And automation is really key. And we do have a few lines out in the market, for example, where we do have a deburring machine coupled up with one of our levelers. Now, the one thing I just wanted to point out, and what's important with this process, is we always recommend deburring first, then leveling. Reason being is these leveling rollers in here are surface hardened to about 62, 63 Rockwell, so they're very solid. But obviously, if you can prevent any kind of visible deformation sticking off the material, you're obviously preventing any potential damage in the future on the machine. And most importantly, because these machines are so strong and capable, all you would essentially be doing is pushing that burr into the material, which then now it's not as simple to remove, but you actually need to grind the surface back down. So yes, we have applications like this, and we also integrate automated handling solutions at the beginning. So we have complete packages to where you place a skid, we have a Vision Eye robot that senses the parts by its own, doesn't need any programming, loads the machine. You can do a 180-degree turnaround conveyor, or basically use a different robot at the back to palletize again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, looks like the next question is, what type of materials can be leveled?
I'll take that. Once again, Chad. Here in Cincinnati, we level everything, and that's pretty much the answer. If you can bend it, you can level it. So stainless steel, normal carbon, brass, copper, titanium, half hard, 3/4 hard, full hard stainless steel. We get a lot of inquiries regarding full hard stainless. That can be a bear, but we can reduce the defects in even full hard stainless.
Going off that question, the next one is, what is the maximum material thickness that can be leveled?
Here in our facility, 1.5 inches, right around that area. We build and manufacture machines that are actually in the market that can go up to 2.5 inches. But in Cincinnati, for toll processing purposes, 1.5 inches.
All right. Next question is, how does leveling benefit my manufacturing process?
Okay. Well, it's going to benefit with the leveled part. Obviously, flatness is what people are looking to achieve. Beyond the flatness, you're going to have stress relief, with which Dennis kind of went into a little bit. So all your downstream processes, whether it goes to forming, whether it goes to a press brake or welding, you're not going to have that residual internal stress any longer with the leveling process. You'll reduce 80 to 90% of the internal stress for downstream processes. So if you initially had a part that was, say, 1/4 inch out of flat, made it flat, and then put it on a weld, you're not going to have that spring back on those parts. So everything is improved downstream.
One thing I just wanted to touch upon real quick, what I always tell a lot of customers too, is if you think about it from a leveling perspective, you know, and what Chad has already touched on, let's say you have a lot of press brakes in-house and you're forming very precise enclosures or anything that has a precise angle that needs to be 45 degrees every single time. I always say to our customers, how are you going to consistently hit 45 degrees if you're not starting with 0, aka flat?
Yeah, to elaborate a little more on that as well, like Dennis said, that's a perfect example. You'll always have a consistent result after leveling. So you're not going to have sheets bowed up or bowed down with crossbow or coil set. At least everything's going to be consistent for the operator in the next process.
Explanation, gentlemen. Your next question is, why are your deburring machines set up differently from others that are on the market?
So I can take that. So the one thing that really sets us apart, and you can, like I said, Mid-Atlantic has the information, you can go on our website as well. What we really did when we launched our deburring machine lineup is, you know, seeing out in the market, seeing what's there, what can be improved on. So number one thing, as you can see on our website, very easy to change consumables. We have a patented click system where you can literally change top and bottom of a machine in a matter of 10 minutes by yourself with just your hands as tools, no access tools necessary. The other thing too is, as you know, a lot of standard deburring machines tend to process top to bottom, meaning the media moves from the top back down to the bottom and makes contact with the material roughly just the width of the actual bed of the machine. Well, here's the thing. When you're actually running, our carousel is almost run like a carousel, like a merry-go-round, where in the sense of having to forego multiple belts that just go top and bottom that only touch the material, you know, 40% of the time, and the rest they're just spinning back empty. With our machines, we're actually having a carousel set up to the point where we have half amount of blocks that some of the other guys have, but we make the same amount of contact because we hit it once going in and then once again coming back around with the same carousel style. Because like I said, you can imagine as you were kids going to merry-go-round, it just goes in circles. Just a good analysis.
The next question is, can a leveler and a deburring machine be interconnected for fully automated processing?
Yes, so just kind of touching upon what we said before is ARKU is moving heavily towards Industry 4.0, as we all know it. A lot of experts out there are obviously integrating their machines, making them fully automated. Like I had mentioned before, is we have many systems out in the market where we have, for example, a deburring machine directly coupled with a leveler. And then with that being said, is just touching upon what I said before, is we always recommend deburring first, then leveling. And with that being said, we also do automatic parts handling. That's just one complete streamlined line, deburring, leveling, stacking it there, or basically placing the parts at the inlet via robot, and then stacking again at the outlet. So yes, that has been done and can be done, no issue.
They can be fully automated.
Great.
Great.
The next question is, does ARKU offer material handling solutions?
Good.
Yes, so just kind of touching upon that, as everything is progressing more towards automation, and especially with that topic also, obviously parts handling is a big topic, not only from efficiency standpoint, but also safety. A lot of the times people get hurt handling parts, you know, list goes on and on. I don't want to go down that hole, but like, as I would said before, is we definitely offer all kinds of material handling solutions for our machines. And we actually have something brand new called, it's a robot with an Ivision system. What that robot allows for is you basically have set points on the ground in front of your machine where the skids go. And then the robot has a patented vision eye technology that basically looks upon the parts, automatically scans the geometry, selects the right gripper application. So either it be magnetic or suction, just depending on how the geometry is set up with the part. And then basically that robot will take that part by its own, no programming necessary, and start loading your machine. And then what you can do is you can either have a similar robot on the outlet side for basically palletizing and restacking, or what a lot of customers tend to do is you have a 180-degree conveyor that basically brings it back around either side, whichever way your manufacturing setup is set up as. And then you can use the same robot on the inlet that's in charge of stacking those parts on the inlet of the machine to also take them off and palletize them as well. That way you would only need one robot.
And in the near future, we hope to have a robot here at our demo center where we could do live presentations as well. So keep that in mind.
Yep.
Very cool. This is the last question we have time for today, and it is, why is double-sided deburring so important for manufacturing?
Want me to do it? So the one thing we always say is, obviously it comes back to the customer requirements. Every customer has different requirements. Every customer has different final products. The one thing we can say with certainty due to our experience in the market, not just here in North America, but all over the world, a lot of the times it comes down to the point where you have to, every time you pick up a part, every time you move a part, it costs you money, it costs you time. If you have a deburring solution that can basically have an unfinished part go in and have a finished part come out to the point where it's ready for further fabrication, ready for painting, you're not having any more rework that needs to be done after the deburring process. Meaning you put the unfinished part in, you get the finished part out according to your requirements. Might be just top deburring, bottom edge rounding, or top deburring, top finishing, and just bottom edge rounding. I mean, there's so many different applications with our lineup of machines we can basically put together for your specific application. So with that being said, just to kind of touch upon that, is it's really important to realize that anytime you handle the material, anytime it gets moved around, anytime you have to pick it up again, it's just another process that's time consuming and also costly. To whereas if you just have one step that does top and bottom, you get the final product out that's ready for paint, ready for powder to coat, ready for forming, whatever you need, it is good to go into the next process, which obviously raises your efficiency and drives your cost down tremendously.
And that is the goal, isn't it? So unfortunately, this is all we have time for today. If you did not get to your question in the chat, we will be able to get your questions over to Chad and Dennis, and they will field those as they have time. So we will be live with Pudevco at 3 p.m. now. And thank you, Dennis and Chad, so much from all of us at Mid-Atlantic Machinery, Southern States Machinery, and Northeast Machinery Sales. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you. You too. Take care, guys.
Thank you. ARKU.com.